Hello, my name is Mackie, and welcome back to another edition of League News After Melissa. Now, of course, last week was part one of the whole thing. I'm recording this 10:40 p.m. on the 23rd of November 2025. By the time you'll be waking up around 9 a.m. on Monday or whatever country you're living in, of course, that video will be up and that will showcase in part two of this whole chaotic offseason of League of Legends. I will tell you what, it is as more chaotic as the hurricane itself. So let's just get to it. Now, you notice that I don't even have a webcam because the extension that I have, and for anybody who don't know, I have a Chromebook, by the way, that has a little webcam extension. And that's cool, of course, but that app that I have, sometimes the webcam will go flawlessly as well, and most of the times, as you can see in most of my videos, the webcam kind of freezes itself and it just annoys me. So, two options. I would rather have to go on with the webcam and trying to punch itself and trying to become adaptable, or just what, screw no webcam, make me talk, and that is it. So I decided to screw the webcam. I'm sorry that we don't have no webcam for pretty much, I don't know how long, but you're probably gonna see me in webcams in some other videos, of course. Like on Wednesday, I will be doing my very first episode of a brand new series called Death of a Team, in which I will analyze the players that be involved, the coaches, the performances throughout the season. No controversial business, no news and all kinds of stuff. Just simply league and numbers and all kinds of stuff. And I will tell you what is the cause of death of all the things. Now you're probably gonna see me in a webcam, of course, and you're not and some other times you're not gonna see me in a webcam until morale improves. Or until I get a brand new webcam and of course something. Maybe you'll maybe the comment section will give me some suggestions of how you give me a webcam. So yeah. Anyways, I believe that pretty much covers all of that. Now, we got some news to tell you, but there is a lot to cover, of course. There'll be a lot to cover, but there is actually one piece of news that I even put up, and that will be in a long, lengthy video by itself. Two big news. First of all, K-Drilled is leaving Lost at the tournament, which is surprising is not the gigantic word I'm looking for. It is more of a the brother is already cashed out on this Lost of the Tournaments project that he built, of course, that they made themselves, of course, in tier two with all the popularity and all kinds of stuff. And now they're being the LEC with the versus thing, which on the surface is really good for Lost of the Tournaments and everybody else. But on the business side for the LEC and for the K Corps and the Kois that has been spending all the money trying to get the slot going in and then realize your value is nothing at this point, it frustrates you. It really, really frustrates you. Speaking of Lost Argentinos playing in Tier 2, they realized that, yeah, they are. I mean, we don't know yet, but they decided that they're not going to give it Tier 2. So, yeah, Lost Argentinos will probably play the LEC versus, and if things don't change, they probably not playing Tier 2 this year. Which, let's be honest, if you are a fan of Lost Argentinos, some casuals, of course, this is a massive blow. And if you're a fan of League of Legends, this is a massive blow. And if you're a business side of things, this is a massive blow as well. Because you decided to bring in Lost Argentinos on a free for basically no money, of course, other than eyeballs and popularity, which is fine, of course, but it makes the K Corp and your SK Gamings and your BDS slots that have been worth millions to put it in just feels nothing. Now they're gonna look at all of this and just realize, oh, so my slot that had been poured in for millions of dollars is just worth nothing now, just absolutely worth nothing. And yeah, that is gonna be the gist of it. That's just the gist of it. I will have to talk about it on a different video that is coming up. You can check your feeds and all kind of stuff. But yeah, the whole whole Los Angeles situation in the LEC is just, it's rat poison. It is literally rat poison. And I think, the LEC have tied themselves in knots. So that will be for the video that's coming up in December. That'll be the very first video that will come up in December. So check your feeds. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are decided to go through more news. Now, we're going to get this thing out of the first. Gumiyushi and Kanavi are joining Honda Life Esports. You got Zeus, you got Kanavi, you got Zeka, you got Gumiyushi. I think I don't know the support. I think I barely don't know the support. Sorry about that. And right now, I'm saying this with certainty. T1, Genji, and Honda Life are the top three teams in the LCK. If anybody told me otherwise, you say no thanks. No thanks. Those are my top three teams. I think it's going to be a fist fight between all these three teams. And with Honda Life, you got two players that came up from the T1 success story, of course, trying to make themselves a name on themselves and trying to beat T1, which, let's be honest, they failed to do. You got Kanavi, which, listen, last game at Worlds was atrocious. It should be deleted from memory, like the flash things from Men in Black. It should be deleted. He should be deleted. Okay, they should be deleted that game. This is not how you play jungler, especially with Kiana of all things. But Hana Life would not shell out all the money because of like one bad performance or many bad performances. They shut out the money because I think he knows that this is a team that can manage to win the big one. You can say that Genji are more pressured to win Worlds this year. But you can say that Honda Life Esports are the same boat. It almost feels like the same. It almost feels like if T1 were to lose at Worlds next year, who will be the other teams that can win Worlds? Who will be the other teams that could step up and actually win Worlds? Genji and Honda Life Esports might do it because I am not sure that any other LPL team can even do it. Consider the current circumstances with the LPL right now. I just don't feel any LPL team can capable of winning. Genji and Hana Life can do it. And with Hana Life Esports squad, with Kanavi, and with Gumiyushi, I think the team is going to be absolutely going to pretty much challenge for LCK Cup titles, for the LCK titles, of course. Maybe for MSI, who knows? But it's all about Worlds in the end. As we learn from this year, all that titles is pretty much not until you win Worlds. That is the whole gist of it. So to make a big power move, hopefully it works out. And I say right now, Honda Life Esports is pretty much the second or third best team in the world, or or their own region. But you can say that they're like the second, third best team in the world on their own region. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say. Okay. Couple of news from the LCP. PSG Talon are officially being kicked out from the LCP. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, because of scandal and all kinds of stuff. No, no. They so let's just say that Riot Games or the LCP themselves, which is governed by Riot Games, have a little bit of a rule in which if your team does not get paid, we are going to kick you out or somewhere along the lines. And if you're thinking about it, you're saying, oh, it's not just the League of Legends team. Oh, no. Oh, no, sorry, Bob. The Valorant team got removed as well. So they just lost their Valorant team and their League of Legends team in one fell swoop. Not even the Qatari money from the PSG investment is going to help you now. It's just, I mean, I think Nymera said in his Euro League, of course, podcast that they have to like fly their own jets to even get to Worlds. Like, they are strapped. And it goes to show that that esports is just full of incompetent people not doing their jobs for bringing consistent payment to other teams, and it leads to a huge mess. And thankfully, The LCP just came in and just like, dude, you just cannot do that freelancing. You didn't pay your staff, you didn't pay your players. We're sorry, but we have to remove you. We have to remove you from the league, which is, I think, it's a mighty blow because you look at the LCP structure. CFO is like the cream of the top, and you can say that Gam is the second favorite. We'll get to Gam later, and then you can say Team Secret Wells and PSG will be in the mix. You can say that those are the four best teams. Although you can say Gam, PSG, and CFO are like the big three in the LCP, and one of them is gone, and one of them is gone. And I think that's a huge blow. I think it's a huge blow for the LCP credibility and their branding. And I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine like they have CFO and GAM going forward. But to lose a team like that, it sends a warning to so many teams. It's like, you better pay your players and your staff, or else the hammer will come down to you. Doesn't matter how successful you are, doesn't matter how great, got to pay your players. So, yeah, investing in this thing is pretty hard. Speaking of Gam, my boy Levi, actually Vietnam's whole boy Levi, has decided to hang up his mouse and keyboard and call it a career. 10 freaking years of League of Legends. What a player and what a dude. Yeah, of course, it was the small stint with 100 Thieves that was pretty much forgettable, kind of like one of those forgettable movies like you just watch and then you don't even talk about it, of course. Just forget about the 100 Thieves Levi for like a second. He was GAM Esports through and through. He was Mr. GAM Esports from, I don't know where he started. I don't know much of his career. But when I saw GAM and when I saw Worlds, I think of Levi. And I think of so many incredible moments throughout his entire career. Mostly because I don't watch like VCS or all that kind of stuff, but I mostly watch international performances. And I think the two performances that come into mind was the 2017 performance against Fnatic, in which he was lights on a nocturne, literally, and the 2022 Worlds when he was playing Karthus. Now, yes, there was a bug. There was a bug in the game, and I think you can say that if you're a top esports fan, you probably got screwed over. At the same time, that was still a cool moment. Buggy, but still a cool moment, in which they went Nexus to Nexus and actually won the game. And pretty much cemented top esports as pretty much the doormat of League of Legends and the international chokers that they still are today. Now, let's be honest. GAM Esports and Levi are like joint in the hip. And to lose a player like this, and let's be honest, Levi was never the same player for this year, of course. He was never the incredible player, of course, and the decline was pretty much in show. And the fact that GAM Esports did not make Worlds just showcased that, yep, that's it. That's it for him. I would not be surprised if he goes on another season like this. And I think he knows it, and I think GAM knows it, and I think, the community knows it. And yeah, that Levi is one of the most prominent players in GAM Esports. Seeing him leave is just kind of like a big blow for them and big blow for the LCP, of course, because of the credibility and the know-how. But he just feels like the time has come. And for GAM Esports, for the first time in a long while, not the first time, of course, but for the first time in a long while, they need to find a new face of GAM Esports. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard without the prominent face of League of Legends in Levi. So it's going to be really, really hard for them. So, yeah, what a career by Levi. One of the most prominent, long-standing careers ever in League of Legends. I mean, next to Peanut. He's not as successful with all trophies and accolades as Peanut, but what he has done to GAM Esports, what he has done to Vietnam Esports, it's something they'll never forget. The streets will never forget Levi, and I hope that if you're Riot Games, and if Riot Games can hear us, you may put him in the Hall of Legends. Maybe. Maybe not now. But maybe down the road it might happen. Maybe down the road. I will hold my breath for Levi Hall of Legends until that day comes. Another player, which is synonymous with success, DFM. Ari has decided to leave for DFM. I don't think DFM have performed well this year, and I think maybe Ari was the reason for it. So he decided that, yep, I decided to leave. No problem with that. Who's going to replace him? That'd be a hard question. But Ari was one of the most successful players for DFM, especially back in the old LGL days. Playing mid laners, of course, I think he was part of that 2021 team that beat Cloud9 to become the first LGL team to make it past the playing stage. I think he was part of it, of course, with him and Evie, of course. I think he was part of it, but yeah, I think he's like the pastures have already been greener enough, and it's time for him to leave. And where did he go? Who knows? But Ari's leaving, of course. And oof, this is gonna be brutal. And for CFO, oh boy, oh boy, yeah, CFO man. It's let me I, let me just see if I get it right. So Kai Wing and Hongq. I think I suppose write that. Yeah. Kai Wing and Hongq, the two prominent players for that CFO roster, has decided to leave CFO. Like Jesus, you want to talk about massive blows? PSG leaving because of player impairment. One of the most storied players in all of League of Legends in Vietnam retires, and then you got two players who were synonymous with CFO success this year. I think if I were to pick the most surprising team of this year, I think it's Anyone's a Legend and then CFO. And you could say that CFO off the bat was kind of like my favorite team of the year. Didn't watch LCP, sorry about that, but I think you can say that their international performances are just make me feel like CFO were the favorites. And I think they were the most dominant team in all of CFO. And Hongq, by the way, was rookie and player of the year, was a massive difference for that. He was a massive difference for that. Him and Kai Wing, of course, were a massive difference, of course. So many people want to be thinking, okay, CFO gonna keep this team right along, and you're thinking, okay, they're gonna last. I'm not saying forever, but they're gonna last like 1 or 2 years. Keep keep making that international run and all kind of stuff, and then say, yeah, that's not how it works in League of Legends. That's not how it works in esports. They're going to leave the moment the money is just calling. Money talks, BS walks, I guess. And they now are going, and there's a little rumor, of course, to JDG. Oh yeah, that JDG team looks absolutely scary right now. Now, the track record for LCP teams or LMA teams going from that region to China is pretty not so great in some cases. The jump from a region that you can just easily punish teams to a region that if you get if you kind of like, how do I say this? If you wander it once and you get punished, you're never going to win the game. The amount of you know the amount of punishments that this region will have is not easy. So to transition from a decent good league in the LCP to a really strong league in the LPL is going to be really rough for both players. And if you and for CFO and LCP, my lord, this is a massive blow. After an incredible, well, I'm not saying an incredible year. It was the CFO was the reason why this LCP was an incredible year, but an incredible year for LCP and for having so much going at them. It's gonna be hard to rebuild. I'm not sure if LCP or CFO in particular will get back to the high that they have last year. And if they pull it off, marvelous. I think the scouting department has been good. I think the scouting department have been great. Just like, and I'm doing this recently, of course, this video might uploaded with a little sports reference. Eze and Elise balled out that weekend. And if you're Crystal Palace scouting department, I mean, the money you just got from them is tremendous, and the value you got is wonderful. I think the same thing will happen with CFO, of course. The Hongq Kai Wing value is going to be massive, and I hope they'll do well, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one. So, yeah, that is the LCP. I think we're done there. Now on to the LCK. Yep, we're going to LCK, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got a big one. Scout has decided to join Nausea Bread Force. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Scout is coming back home. And let's be honest, he needs to go back home because let's be honest, he was like the only thing that's carrying JDG. Actually, no, he was pretty much the one that carried JDG to the grave. This is not a great scout year by any means necessary, and he has not performed well. He has not performed well last year, and maybe I think a change of environment, a change of home scenery, and no, it's not T1. You're not going to replace Faker anytime soon. He's going to play until his arm fell off and his eyesight goes down and he has Alzheimer's or something. Just no disrespect to the Alzheimer's people. But Scout is going to be a, well, not saying huge upgrades. I think Notch and Red Force are just, I said it again, I don't think they're going to crack the top three of Hana Life, Gen G, and T1. But I think he'll give you something. I think he'll give you something. I think he will give you flexibility. He's going to give you good gameplay. We all know how good he is. We all know how good he is. And I think if he can bring back, not saying bring back the scout that was pretty good when they won the title in 2021, I think he can bring the scout back when he was like virtual MVP from like last year. If you can get him that, and if you can play decently for Notch and Red Force, I think this team is going to be like a top 4 contender. Maybe challenging KT roster for fourth place. Because let's be honest, KT roster are gonna have having the incredible high of like making the World's Finals of now going back to the KT of old, which is going downhill real fast. The KT roller coaster never fails to exist. So I think Scout is going to bring some power into Notch and Red Force, and I hope they'll do well. Ryu is going to replace Kim as a coach of Gen G. Yes, the same Ryu who was the victim of the most infamous play in all of League of Legends with Faker. Oh, look at the claps, look at the moves. Faker, what was that? Yes, that one. I just have Doe and Monte Cristo in my head space for a long while. So the fact he managed to survive all of that and still managed to become a League of Legends and now coach Gen G of all teams, like that is gonna be, oh man, it's gonna be rough for. So, by the way, he's basically keeping the same team. The same team is being kept. Canyon, Chovy, Duro, Ruler, and Keith. That's the lineup for Gen G. And high expectations are in Gen G right now. It's worlds or bust, no excuses. I mean, the fact you lost a KT roster should be a crime against humanity, a crime against League of Legends, of course. You should be sent to jail, kind of like Silas, of course. I'm not talking about lore. Or you're probably gonna be transformed to Kahid. Yeah, I guess. But they have to win worlds. He has to bring worlds to Gen G, or everything else is a failure. MSI, EWC, LCK Cup, none of it matters. It's worlds or bust. It's worlds or bust. Plain and system. Plain and simple. Bring a sports psychologist for God's sakes. Like, if you can bring like a sports psychologist, if you can bring something to help the mental, of course, it will go a long way. Like, we have been treating League of Legends players like gods, of course, especially in Korea, but we know that they're fragile. We know that the moment the pressure gets to them, they can be fragile as heck. So you got to need some help. We all know Gen G has so much money. They can need to buy like a psychologist. They don't have to like get the pious, great psychologist, of course. Just get a decent one. Just get one decent one. A couple will be great for each player, will be good. And maybe some assistants will come in and help them get some different mind space, of course, away from the game, of course. Just help them ease the pressure. Because I want Chovy to win worlds, but I just want Chovy to have the right mindset so he doesn't have a choke again. That's going to be, that's going to be what I want. I just want Gen G to win worlds. Because two things. One, I think T1 winning worlds is like coming ridiculous right now. And two, I just want someone who has not won worlds to have someone other than T1 and Faker to have their own storyline. That's just me. That's just me, of course. That's just, watching the Bills and the Browns and the Lions having won Super Bowls and just once, please, just once. And it's hard. It's really, really hard to do. But I hope Ryu can help coach this Gen G team to greater heights this year. But it's going to be tough. Now, for KT roster, I have some really bad news. Yeah. So, closer, Dog Dom, and Peter have now gone to Freaks. Dom and Peter, by the way, the bot duo that made KT Roster the finalist, has now gone to the Freaks. Like, I'm not that surprised, but it's like you gone from a decent KT Roster team that made finals, of course, to like the Freaks. All right then, cool. That is pretty nice. That's actually pretty nice. In King's replacements, Ghost and Palu, who are supports, and Eamon. So you got two supports and a okayish ADC. At least you got BDD and Cuz. So at least you got that going. And I'm going to say this. I think KT Roster are going to be a distant fourth or fifth, depending on how great Notch and Red Force are. I think the highs of what happened, the surprise, the fact they actually made the World's Finals, and by the way, that was BDD popping off incredibly at international performances and popping off like towards the end of the year. That was BDD on steroids, mind you. So try to pull that off again. It will be really, really hard to do. And the same thing with Liverpool right now, trying to do what they have to do. Well, although it be differently, it's hard. It's really hard to do. And I'm not sure if KT Roster can ever do it, of course. Not with Eamon and Ghost and Palu, for God's sakes, being the bot laner. Like, my God, it's grim. It looks grim to me. Smash in career decided to join D plus Kia, and I think we saw what Smash is capable of course. In the short amount of time that he was the ball laner of T1, he was great. He was great, and I think he deserved a big contract, of course. Well, not saying big, but he deserved to have a contract, of course, with the LCK team, and it is D plus Kia. Now, do I think it's going to make D plus Kia a better team? I hope so. I hope so. And I hope that Smash will be like just like Zeus and just like Gumayusi, although he was replacement Gumayusi, but just like Zeus, just like Gumayusi, could be away from the T1 craziness, away from the chaos, and just focus on the game. And if he can perform well for this D plus key and make a name for himself, holy cow, it will turn a lot of heads. Now, will that happen? I don't know, but I think it's a huge thing. Captain and Gideon is joining OK Bro. Huge. I think both of them are huge signing, of course. Hopefully they'll do well. Fisher and Namdon is also joining them. So you got Captain Gideon, Fisher, and Namdon joining the team. And I think this OK Bro team looks like a pretty decent 8th place team. Okay, I know I'm joking, but listen, I just don't see OK Bro going to be like. I think OK Bro could be a 5th place team, 6th place if they're lucky. But yeah, I just don't. I just don't see it right now. I just don't see it. I think that pretty much covers all the LCK news. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I did think so. Now let's go to North America, the LCS, and let's see. Now I will do the. Now, I would like to talk about the Kespa Cup, but I will hold that Kespa Cup thing until the next video, which is going to be on Friday. I will be talking about it on. Well, let me just see. I think I can show you the schedule. Yeah, I'll show you the schedule. I'll show the schedule. So I'll be talking about. I think I don't even have it. Okay, let me just see. This is my schedule, and maybe I'll do it next Friday. Yeah, because I think it's be around December at the time. It'll be around December 16th. So I would like to talk about the importance of the Kespa Cup. And I want to talk about how big this is. Maybe this thing will be late, of course. David already did a video, so maybe this will be late, of course, by my standards. But I just want to talk about how important this Kespa Cup is, from the economic from broadcasting to the teams. Of course, 2 North American teams help them, but it's a huge deal. This Kespa Cup year is a huge deal. So that will be next Friday will be the first Friday of December. Because this is a little schedule, of course, kind of work on my schedule, of course, trying to have like a healthy schedule so that I don't have to go scattergun, of course, in many videos. So see if you like my scheduling thing, and you know what? I will be doing more if you like. So keep it going. All right, FlyQuest. They just decided to sign the 18-year-old Cryogen to replace Busio. And brother and sister, you're going to have some big shoes to fill. Cryogen was one of the developing players, of course, for the FlyQuest. He was developing in Tier 2, and they decided that instead of just developing in Tier 2, grow, and then hope, they decided, you know what, screw it. Put this kid in there, 18 years old, in a FlyQuest team that I think it's looking pretty decent. I think it's looking pretty decent. Gakkos, we all know Gakko. We saw Gakkos pop off just a little bit, replacing, Bwimpo for a short time. I think it's for like one game, of course, being on his suspension, of course. And I think the less we say about Bwimpo, the better. And I think if you're FlyQuest, you're just going to get rid of him as soon as possible. And fine, I guess. So Gakkos is your top lane. I believe Quid and Masu are staying. Cryogen is your support. And I think for jungle, Griffin. I think Griffin is the jungle. Yes, Griffin is the jungle. So you look at this FlyQuest roster, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look as bad as many people think. Now, yes, you're losing three of your best players, of course. Your LTA player of the year and your how do I say this? Your LTA player of the year, your top laner with a horrible image aside, pretty good, of course, and in your support, which was absolute cinema. You just lost three of the good players, and you're replacing them with three promising, talented players with ThinkCard as your coach, who knows how to develop players and all kind of stuff. Now, if you're FlyQuest, you must be thinking to yourself, well, that's it. We're not going to win LCS. And like, hang on. Let's not think negatively, okay? I mean, Papa Smitty put up a pretty good response in saying that we're focusing on winning domestically. And I like Papa Smitty. I can do an interview with him. Maybe I'll do an interview with him, but who knows? I think I'm a small guy with 40 subscribers, I guess. Who's the Funkins? But this is about developing. This is about development for FlyQuest. It's about rebuilding, and I think this squad is looking decently good to challenge the LCS. Now, if you look at the teams, of course, that can challenge the LCS. It's FlyQuest, it's Cloud9, your Team Liquid, and I think you say Shopify Rebellion, maybe Lion. So you got like four teams kind of in it. Dignitas are cooked. Toast are trying to fight for like survival every year, so they're not in it. Sentinels looking decent, but I'm not sure the Sentinels could be challenging them. So yeah, those are like my how I stack the LCS, of course. Now, 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 I think FlyQuest are going to be really good this year. I think FlyQuest will be really good, but are they good enough to win LCS? That will come in spring and summer. That will be for the latter stages of the year. The lock-in is pretty much like a parameter of where this team is going to stand. Hopefully, I think they shouldn't play I think they shouldn't have invited to an international tournament or just do a tournament, of course. But the lock-in is going to be like a pretty big parameter of where they're going to stand right now. So, yeah, I think this is a huge deal for FlyQuest. I think this FlyQuest team is going to be good. And I hope this Cryogen kid will not get flamed by every single, North American fan out there. It is what it is, I guess. Let's go LEC. Tayo has been reported to KC Blue. That's a huge deal, of course, because KC Blue, of course, one of the two teams that are promoted to play the LEC versus. Now, I think you can say that Kickoff have a chance. Lost by the Totems are like cooked and burned, of course, and pretty much like they're mentally checked out, and some of the players, some of the staff are just leaving, of course. So I think this is more like Lost by the Totems trying to become like a real team instead of just like being one of those content creators. They might still have the players around, but it's just like I just still feel like a chance. Carmen Corp Blue, though, I didn't mind do it. I didn't mind cook something. Speaking of Carmen Corp, they decided to sell Vladdy to Fnatic. Like, Vladdy just gone from one toxic fan base to pretty much another within 5 seconds. Like, it's an upgrade for Fnatic. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good, big upgrade for Fnatic. And by the way, I think Fnatic have another player, of course, they're coming in. And if you look at the Fnatic squad, it's like, I am not expecting Fnatic to do anything much. But at the same time, what do you expect Fnatic to do this season? Because let's be honest, G2, KC, and Koi are going to be like the three top teams in the LEC. Fnatic are gonna be like the distant fourth at least, and unless like one of these teams fell off the cliff, Common Corp last year or this summer, of course, then I think Fnatic will be like a distant fourth, unless that happens, and unless Fnatic improves. Because let's be honest, Fnatic throughout the entire world, or let's just say throughout the entire year, have done nothing to this point other than beating Common Corp to get the worlds. That's it. That's the only thing they've done, and it's just like these fans have been waiting. Like by the time 2026 have come around, and hopefully be alive for that. By the time the 2026 have come, it will be 7 years since Fnatic have won Worlds. Or, sorry, 7 years since Fnatic have won LEC. Or the EU LCS as it was namely called. They have not won an LEC title. Rogue, who are no longer exist, have won an LEC title. This is bad. And this is, I'm not saying this is weeks of desperation because I think, let's be honest, I think Fnatic are pretty much cooked as an organization morally and pretty much from a competitive standpoint. But I think this is more like a Fnatic rebuild, trying to get the best mid laner they have, and they got the best mid laner. But to go from one crazy fan base to like another, and if he doesn't perform well, I don't know if he's going to perform anywhere. So that's a huge deal, of course. We'll see how this works. Emmy's leaving Giant X. I mean, all right. Oh, Lopsa. Yeah. So the one player that I mentioned is Lopsa. So you got Vladdy and Lopsa. And I don't know about the ball lane. I hope Upset will stay. But Mickey X has gone to SK, so that I think they'll figure out the support, of course. But if you look at that squad, it's just screams of like it's probably Upset, being a carrier of this team. And that's great and all, but remember, this is League of Legends. Like crazy things will happen, of course. And of course, they don't have like updates to the game. They don't have like crazy mechanics. And of course, WASD is going to be like a big thing, of course, in League of Legends next year. Could be a big thing. And I hope like many people will play. So many changes to make. And yes, Upset is a good player, all of course, but is he going to be the guy that can carry Fnatic to a promised land? I just don't think so. I could be wrong. But yeah. I think it's going to be tough for Upset, of course. And finally, I think I've just put it in. Gary will be promoted to the coach of Vitality, and I think, let's be honest, Vitality, oh boy, Vitality has spent and spent and spent and has yielded them to disappointment after disappointment, and now they're just like, yeah, they're cooked. They're literally cooked. And now they're more like developing talent, hopefully do well, but yeah, Vitality is not going to be challenging for LEC titles at any time soon. Or Worlds, I guess. So that should do it. That should all be do it. I already mentioned about the loss on Drone Stall, but I can save that for another video, of course, at a time. And you notice that this video will be up in a couple of hours, of course. It'll be close to midnight on the 24th of November. So, a little thing, my mom's birthday is coming up on Tuesday, and this will be belated, of course. And I want to wish my mom a happy birthday. I hope she is healthy and well and being loved by so many people, including myself. And there is no gift greater than having a son. And for you to be there and for you to give me something and to live long and stay strong and all, because it's great. So happy birthday to my mom. And by the way, the birthday was on Tuesday, so I hope I don't think she'll get this. But so I wish my mom a birthday, and I wish all the moms a special birthday when that day comes. And I wish all of you all the healthiness and everything else throughout the entire year. Because let's be honest, we are in close to December. The year is almost over, and maybe I might do a video, of course, containing the year, of course. But until then, thank you all for watching this video. This is a no webcam version of it. Like, comment, subscribe to this video, and I hope they'll see you next time. Ciao.